A reading from the letter to the Hebrews. Jesus is always able to save those who approach God through him, since he lives forever to make intercession for them. It was fitting that we should have such a high priest, holy, innocent, undefiled, separated from sinners, higher than the heavens. He has no need, as did the high priests, to offer sacrifice day after day, first for his own sins and then for those of the people. He did that once and for all when he offered himself. For the law appoints men subject to weakness to be high priests, but the word of the oath, which was taken after the law, appoints a son who has been made perfect forever. The main point of what has been said is this: we have such a high priest who has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of the majesty in heaven, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle that the Lord, not man, set up. Now every high priest is appointed to offer gifts and sacrifices. Thus the necessity for this one also to have something to offer. If then he were on earth, he would not be a priest, since there are those who offer gifts according to the law. They worship in a copy and shadow of the heavenly sanctuary, as Moses was warned when he was about to erect the tabernacle. For God says, "See that you make everything according to the pattern shown you on the mountain." Now he has obtained so much more excellent a ministry, as he is mediator of a better covenant, enacted on better promises. Verbum Domini. Here am I, Lord, I come to do your will. Sacrifice or oblation you wished not, but ears open to obedience you gave me. Burnt offerings or sin offerings you sought not. Then I said, Behold, I come. Here am I, Lord, I come to do your will. In the written scroll it is prescribed for me, to do your will, O my God, is my delight, and your law is within my heart. Here am I, Lord, I come to do your will. I announced your justice in the vast assembly. I did not restrain my lips, as you, Lord, know. I come to do your will. May all who seek you exalt and be glad in you, and may those who love your salvation say ever, the Lord be glorified. Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will.
Jesus Christ has done away with death and brought us life through his gospel. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Dominus vobiscum. Lectio Sancti Evangelii secundum Marcum. Jesus withdrew toward the sea with his disciples. A large number of people followed from Galilee and from Judea, hearing what he was doing. A large number of people came to him also from Jerusalem, from Idumea, from beyond the Jordan, and from the neighborhood of Tyre and Sidon. He told his disciples to have a boat ready for him because of the crowd, so that they would not crush him. He had cured many, and as a result, those who had diseases were pressing upon him to touch him. And whenever unclean spirits saw him, they would fall down before him and shout, "You are the Son of God." He warned them sternly not to make him known. Verbum Domini. Today in the United States, we enter into a day of prayer and reparation for the sake of the many people who have been and will be negatively affected by that Supreme Court decision or decisions handed down this day in 1973. And most have heard of Roe versus Wade, but less attention is paid to the even more permissive Doe versus Bolton, a companion case. So in Doe, the court decided that health, in terms of abortion law, meant the mother's physical, emotional, familial well-being. So now we're for that, of course, her physical, emotional, and familial well-being of the woman, for her and for her child, for the husband or the man who helped, and for the family. And advocates of abortion are always looking for ways to play this language game. But scientific studies have shown that 40 years later, abortion is not healthy for women physically, emotionally, or in the family. After abortion, there's a heightened risk of preterm birth or placenta previa, putting the child in subsequent pregnancies at risk. There's an increased risk of anxiety, depression, substance abuse, even suicidal behavior. And men, too, are affected by this, especially if they encourage the procedure at the time. And sometimes it's true that they only found out later that they were even a father at all. So the father today has no legal say, ultimately, in this issue. And in the U.S., there has been movements to help create better health regulations for clinics who perform abortions, to make them more safe and healthy. And this too has been strongly contested, even in the midst of revelations about clinics who have been very poor in this regard. So no family has ever been brought together or healed by abortion. And yes, there are stories of healing in families for those who have had abortions. Abby Johnson says that the hardest thing she ever had to do in her life was to tell her parents that she had aborted 2 of their grandchildren. And the pressure on women has never been higher. They're not more free because of this, that the whole media culture, so much against them, not just TV, but especially pornography and the contraceptive mentality, that expectations have made them even more objects. Especially this is true of the poor and minorities. Human trafficking has increased, and this provides, outs for people. But in the midst of all this, there is healing and hope, forgiveness, and future after abortion. You can go to resources like Rachel's Vineyard or hopeafterabortion.com, and we're here for you, the priests, the bishops, to come to confession. We'll always have open arms for you. But also to look, if you're in a troubled pregnancy, to look to a local pro-life office or crisis pregnancy center, and there'll be a great support and help, not just in the pregnancy, but after as well. In his recent trip to Sri Lanka and the Philippines, Pope Francis warned against ideological colonization. So not just coming in with military and taking over, but taking over through ideas. And it's ideological, not based in the truth, but based on an ideology that says something is to be done no matter what, in the face of all of these facts about health and truth and life, we still move against it. So too often, in addition, or rather, in order to receive foreign aid, the stipulation is made that this country must allow abortion and contraception, and lately even gay marriage. And so the powers, quote unquote, of the world who want to help, quote unquote, but are ultimately motivated by ideology and pushing these things. So along with materialism and lifestyles that are destructive to family life and society, this relativism and ultimately oppression comes in. So normally it's the poor who suffer, the poor who are coerced into the mentality that another child will leave them in poverty. And the woman is forced into abortion then. She does not freely choose. Only if she had the information about the life within her and the opportunity could she really choose what she wants, openness to life and love. So we find it so compelling when we're able to see the child in ultrasound, when we can help those in need to be able to choose life, not just in pregnancy, but especially in those first years as she learns how to be a mother. New life is beautiful of itself. And so Pope Francis said that families are being destroyed for lack of children, not just through abortion, but so many too cannot have children and are looking for ways to conceive or adopt. Some children are just not there. Others have become infertile because of their abortions or because of long use of contraceptives. But to remember the sacredness of every human life from conception to natural death. So in vitro fertilization too is not the way for us. It creates outside of that marital union many children actually, and most of whom die or are frozen. And many in vitro fertilization pregnancies still lead to abortion. Children are not a commodity to be made or bought or thrown away. So especially today of all days, to pray for those who are most affected by abortion or infertility, for the conversion of those involved in the abortion, contraception, and pornography industry, and ultimately to pray for that freedom of the children of God, that we can live and move and act in that good which comes from God. So closeness to God, the mission that He gave us, is born in prayer and the desire for good and truth that is within us. And openness to life is a noble vocation entrusted to us by God, given not to us only as individuals, as couples, but as a great human family, to have concern for this issue. All of us should have this concern, that in love and forgiveness and care, we can stand with everyone. We're all in need of His mercy, and we can encourage one another while it is still today. Jesus withdrew to the sea, but a large number was pressing upon Him. They wanted to touch Him so that they could be cured of their many diseases and illnesses. And today, so many too need that touch of Jesus Christ, just to draw near to him. And in that way we can find healing, we can find peace and forgiveness and strength in this life to do and to be always in God's presence.